Well, guys, thank you for joining us today for the Realtor Rainmakers Success Clues. And those of you guys out on YouTube as well, we're excited that you've chosen to join us for this time, a new weekly program called Success Clues, because success leaves clues. And what we're doing is we're talking to successful realtors, and as they say in the UK, estate agents, to learn what some of the clues are for success that help them get where they are today. Today, we are honored to have the awesome and amazing Barry Pulver with the exceptional brand eXp US and UK. Appreciate you guys being here. Teams shout out, people coming in, sending us texts. Welcome to the Success Clues series, Barry Pulver.
Honored, quite frankly, honored and humbled. So thank you, Matthew. Always a pleasure, especially with you, my friend. Thank you.
Oh man, it's so great to have you with us, man. Well, Samantha, I have not heard the full Barry Pulver story. Kind of, um, you know, I mean, like Brian Buffini coming to the United States, land of opportunity, and has made really quite a name for yourself in real estate. Talk to us about that journey of how you came here. You've got a background in journalism, a lot of great skills and talents. How long have you been in real estate, Barry?
Thank you, Lord. Okay, so the quick version, I moved to the country a little over a year ago, Thanksgiving of 2010. Different world. We didn't know what masks were, COVID were. I don't even know what real estate was. I moved here. I'm a very honest person. For a girlfriend, as way else do people move, boyfriend, girlfriend, one or the other. And that did not go very well, very quickly. So I was in the land of opportunity, exactly like you explained. I was working in London, lived just outside London in England. Moved to Denver, North Carolina, not the fun one. And there we go. I'm here. I tell everybody the story. I never sold a home, never had any experience in estate agency, real estate. I knew few people. And then I found my faith at that point. I found my family, now my business. And the rest is kind of history. It's been a very humbling journey, one that at this point in my career, and I'm not that experienced on the grand scheme of things at all, I am blessed and humbled every day, and I now, at this moment in my career, my sole focus is to give back and to help others that don't know me. And calls like this, if I can give a little bit of information or be of a little bit of motivation or inspiration to help anyone in their career in the best industry in the world, that's why I do what I do, Matthew.
That's awesome, man. It's cool to hear that journey. Well, it's interesting because I was amazed. I mean, I've known Clarissa for a couple of years. We interviewed her last week, Clarissa Marshall, and she's on the YouTube channel. We've got her recording up there, but she had been at it only for 3 years. Yeah. So fairly new, and she icon right out of the block. So, you know, she's a curve breaker that way. I didn't do that, Barry. I don't know about you. Did you icon first year?
Nope. No, not even close.
Same here. I have a cousin that said, you're one of those lifestyle guys, right? Do you like that quality of life thing? And I'm like, yeah, I kind of like having a good quality of life, right?
Amen. You know, I have this chat with my wife now. So, you know, we have a 4-year-old next month, 7-week-old tomorrow, and I'm scrambling. You know, I'll tell everybody from this. I took December off work. The first month of my career, I took off work to be there. Again, we're not having a baby. Let's be honest. She is having the baby, but to be there to support, and then come back in January. I'm right now working 3 days a week. I'm trying to figure out that life balance. You know, I'm not an icon agent. I wanted to test myself last year with COVID. So I knew I was taking December off. So October, November, I pretty much capped in those 2 months to see if I could. And now here we are. I'm home more than I am working. But as we all know in this great industry, it's a massive struggle. I don't believe there is a work-life balance, but I'm trying to figure out what that life balance is, if that makes sense. So Clarissa is a beast in the most complimentary sense possible. God bless her. I never want to be an icon agent at this moment in time. I want to inspire and get as many people there as possible. So her, and then you've got my old Italian boy, Tomasini, on next week. You guys and girls are in for a treat. See me as like the buffer before the good and the great, okay? That's how I would see it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, so tell me about your time blocking, because that's one of the things with new agents. You know, you're starting your own business. You're trying to identify what do you do when, and when you have a family that's important to you. I mean, blocking that in, I mean, I share with my mentees, one of the things I realized that my wife liked at some point when we discussed it was catching the sunset out on the Charleston Harbor. And so I blocked in this slot for sunset, which kind of moves on you throughout the year. You know, it's like, okay, this quarter it's going to be at this spot, but then another quarter it's going to be at a different spot.
Yeah.
And proactively envisioning in advance what this year could look like, knowing you have a new arrival coming into the family. I mean,
Yeah.
that sounds like a lot of kind of forethought and vision to develop sort of an ideal scenario there.
Yeah. So I'm going to give a ton of credit to my coach. Again, he's not a real estate coach; he's an international business coach. And the one I've been with him for 8 months. I've never ever invested in myself and my business. I've never bought a lead before. Again, not that that's a smart thing or a silly thing to do. I've never had a coach. One of the things that he's instilled in me is my calendar. As anyone, especially some of the great names I see on this call who I know, if we have a call, a phone call, a Zoom call, I'm not meeting people in person now for obvious reasons, but if we've got a call, you will get an invitation through my Google Calendar and it will come to your email because quite frankly, as someone on this call will know, if we have a meeting and it's not my calendar, it doesn't happen. So the time blocking for me is figuring out what system works. For me, I figured out it's that. On a personal level at home, we have a schedule on the fridge because my wife is much more of a pen and paper person, which is great. I don't go anywhere without a notebook for notes and plans and ideas and strategy. So for me, it's Google Calendar. I was just looking in the background to see if I could share with you my Google Calendar. It would probably bore you. It's a lot of different colors and parts of the world. But for me, that was everything. And I'll go one step further. I think you got to, and I know we're going to hopefully talk a bit about personal branding because for me, that was the tipping point with realizing what a successful career is. And that's when you got to figure out who you are. I'm at a major point in my life now. I talk about, openly about that life balance of figuring out who I am and what I want to do in life, let alone business. But I start every single day. It's not this mug, it's the smallest one, but with a cup of coffee. Anyone that knows me, I'd wake up with my family, drop my son off at his Montessori preschool, come home, boom, cup of coffee, and I go. I at least give myself 15 minutes a day, Matthew. Pen and paper is there, and I give myself that 15 minutes just to think, to stop. The best bit of advice I would give myself 5, 6, 4 years, however long I've been in this industry for, let's say 5 years, would be to just shut up, to disconnect and stop. It's the most counterintuitive thing that we're ever going to teach ourselves because, hey, we're all here on Zoom in different parts of the country. We're all connected through our watches, through our phone and everything else. But the moment I just stop, and I notice there are days I don't do that, and I'm always chasing my tail, or I'm running around chasing my head and I realize it's already cut off. So stopping and just starting your day with intentionality, call it prayer, call it meditation, call it stillness. My goodness, if I could give one bit of advice, Matthew, that has changed my business tremendously. And as part of that, it's time blocking. Like you say, you've got to be intentional. Right now, this week, tomorrow is a bit of a mixture because I have to go and check a house tomorrow on my day off. But when you have limited time, you realize the value and importance of what you do with your time and that intentionality. So if you can start your day in stillness and quiet, then have a look at the notes you've written. Dear Lord, you have business and you have ideas here. It's just a case of disconnecting. So it's a long-winded answer to your question. But absolutely, unless you're intentional with the time you have, what's the point?
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great, I mean, it would be interesting to see your Google Calendar if you don't mind sharing. I mean, I don't want you to share anything confidential, but, because a lot of folks are looking for the practical on that. And I share a Google spreadsheet with my mentees just as a guide, that you can say, okay, about every 30 minutes from awake to going to sleep at night, where do you want to have things ideally? And so it's interesting to think about pushing back to reflect. I mean, that's one of my questions was going to be, what would you tell young Barry Pulver getting started in his first quarter in real estate? And that was one of the things that you would have told him is take the time to reflect, to get focus on the day before it begins and starts running you.
Oh, listen, absolutely. So you have to let me know if this works. I'm going to share my calendar from last week. Again, if there's anything private on there, this is only recorded to the world. And I'm a private person, believe it or not. Anyone that knows me knows that. Can you see this? Can you see that? So this is last week, right? That's my day. Nothing on Saturday. One showing on Sunday I couldn't get out of. But otherwise, my Mondays are pretty full. Everything in orange is my son. Everything in blue. The long bits on Tuesday and Thursday are being home with my daughter, and I've got Zoom calls here. I've got meetings there, showings there. And then this is this week, and I'm pretty excited about Friday. But you can see my Monday, intentionally, I had to take care of paperwork and all the fun stuff that I don't like to do. That's why there was a gap. Today was a little bit of a cluster, and I gave myself the afternoon to do negotiations and paperwork. And Friday is my favorite day. I've got a couple of meetings, international meetings, and all that fun stuff. So as you can see, I don't work on the weekends unless I have to. And otherwise, if it's not on here, like if this call was not here right now in pink, which are my Zoom calls, it's not happening. And I hate to say that, but I've had to learn the hard way. I've had to miss a couple of really important meetings and be very humbled and say that. So it doesn't work for everybody. You know, if you have the old school diary or calendar, you know, whatever works, like KV call, like a CRM, whatever flipping works. If that's an Excel spreadsheet, use it. The number one thing I would also, I've got a lot of number one things, and you can tell when I've had my coffee now, can't you? So excuse me.
It's kicking in.
But the other thing I would tell myself as a young agent, so you want to be like everybody else. You know, you see successful agents, you want to copy what they do. I was always taught. So I joined this great industry with Keller Williams for a couple of reasons, and they teach you, don't reinvent the wheel. You don't need to reinvent the wheel, and they tell you that now as well. And that's kind of true. But I would never have an international real estate team if I didn't kind of challenge that theory. So don't be afraid to be unapologetically authentic in yourself. As a new agent, you don't have that confidence. You know, you need to grow that thicker skin. It takes time, even now. But you have to be yourself. And that's where the personal branding comes in. I wish I knew back in the day, regardless of what company you work for, it's not about the company, it's about you. You know, now I'm with eXp, and I say this all the time, but all the listings I have, the number one question that comes up is when they're filling out, who is eXp? They don't know. They know this. They know the exceptional brand. They know my name. And that's all they care about. It's not about the company. So a couple of things. If you can be intentional about what you are and have a schedule that you'll stick to, whatever that looks like with your various circumstances, and you can figure out who you are and what you want to be and be unapologetic in that, young Barry Pulver, I may be living in Puerto Rico like everybody else right now. So those are the differences.
Yeah, one of the things that's off the table is buying more eXp stock back then. You know, I can't. That's we kicked that one aside. You know, it's like, well, I wish I'd bought more stock when I first started. You know, because then I might be living in Puerto Rico. You know, but that's that hindsight is 2020 thing. So when you were getting started, because there are two engines to really drive the train of your business. You know, lead generation, lead conversion. Talk about the value of branding into your lead generation. It looks like since you're not doing weekends, you probably lead with listings, and you have folks that work with buyers during the weekend sometimes, because that's the only time that folks can see property sometimes.
Sometimes, to an extent. That's the one thing I'll say as well. If somebody, and this is still a challenge for me, don't get me wrong, everything I speak about, I've not mastered. Yeah, life is a continuous learning journey. But my logic is, as a listing specialist, right? Because I'm trying to remove the words realtor and real estate agent and just try to see myself as a marketer, because that's what I think I am. And I market a home here in my market different and better to anybody else. That may not be true, but I truly believe that, and I say it confidently because I believe it. But if someone genuinely wants to see a home and they think it's the one, and they can only see it at 6 p.m. Saturday evening, they're not telling the truth. If they genuinely think that's the home and they want to see it, you know, our tendency, and I struggle with this right now, is to change my schedule and my allotted time to fit my clients. Now, yes, we have a fiduciary, I can't even say the words, excuse my English, a fiduciary duty, you can recorrect me, to our clients, and that's who we work with, right? So they pay our bills because we're looking out for them. But you've got to be honest with yourself as much as they have to be honest with themselves. If they really want to see this home, they will also make a change to their schedule, which does not always have to be you. I was massively guilty, I still am now, but I'm working on it, of always amending my schedule and my calendar to fit the needs of my clients. When you do that once, you set the expectation, and setting the expectation is so important. So you touch upon lead generation, I call it follow-up, you can call it what you did as well. Set the expectation. If you set the expectation from the beginning, you are going to be working with the likes of people you want to work with. If you set the expectation, you may lose some of those clients, and that is not necessarily a bad thing. I know as a new agent, they tell you to take anything on and take everything on. I don't think that's necessarily in your best interest. There's a reason that a brand new real estate agent, according to NAR, right, 81% of the agents get out of the industry within 18 months. There's a reason. So we've got to set the expectation, and that comes with ourselves as much as it does our calendar and our clients. I get off on tangents all the time. So you're asking about personal branding. I'm massive into this. Anybody who's seen me and why I had the honor of now creating eXp into an international company, because that was my vision and that's what I want to do. Knowing your values, knowing your vision, knowing your focus, that is effectively personal branding. I know it's a trendy word right now, but for me, it's being very confident, very focused, and very driven to know what you want to achieve. I call that personal branding. I have this fancy little logo, which I love, but that's just me. But I know what it is, and that's what it is. Call it what you want. It should be Matthew Ledford. It should be Barry Pulver. You know, in the UK, we have to use only our names just to legal reasons, but that's all it is. It's just being confident in knowing who you are, which is one of the challenges of life. So trust me when I say it's not easy, but knowing what you want to do in business. For me, that is personal branding. If any of you had that as a new agent, boy, you would be amazed at the extra steps it would take you to get more business, to be confident with that business, and then to grow your business further as well.
Yeah, it's interesting thinking about branding and realizing and helping new agents realize you are the brand that people meet when you show up at a meeting, when you show up on the phone call, when you're connecting with the people in your world, in your sphere, you know, and it's the easiest way to market from a signage standpoint, both in North and South Carolina and probably in most parts of the country. And like you said, with the UK, I mean, I'm sure there's some reflections looking at how the business is different across the pond where we can learn some lessons, as well as just the way to do personal branding.
Absolutely. Anyway, you know, I actually I was on the phone to him, one of our agents, one of our partners at eXp UK. It's called Ben Moore. It's called the one with the beard, and I want to say it publicly because I don't know. When he joined us, you know, he owned his own company, but he wasn't known. Now he is known throughout the country, throughout the UK, the whole region, and even further afield as the master of video and that video branding. And I'm heavily leaning off him to do the same thing when it comes to lifestyle videos. Look him up. Look him up on YouTube. Look him up on LinkedIn or Facebook. Ben Moore, the one with the beard. He has this swagger and confidence about him, which he will openly say the first time he did a video, he never had it. And now, you know, how he markets his property is unbelievable. Be it the equivalent of a $300,000 house or a $3 million house, you know, it stands out. And that's how he generates his business. You know, I've done a lot of video content marketing on social media. I've done, I'll say this honestly, zero lead generation since I got back into the industry after my month off. I'm overwhelmed. I mean, I'm overwhelmed. I mean, 3 listings coming up now, buyers out the you know what, and I'm looking to help my fellow partners as much as I can. Now, again, that's where the term lead generation, I guess, is a bit of a fallacy. What does that mean? For me, branding and content marketing is lead generation, but it's not the traditional, let's pick up the phone, call our buyers and sellers, call our past clients. You know, whatever it is, I just think whatever your focus is, if you know what your personal brand is, lean on it. If you find something that's working, you know, they say, you know, try 3 or 4 areas of lead generation. For me, if you find one that's working, I would double down on that. And then I'd maybe have one more. But I think we've got to focus on what's working for us. And the biggest thing, without going off on another tangent for me, is evaluation. If you don't evaluate your business, where your leads are coming from, where your closings are coming from, if you don't evaluate your business, you don't even have a business. You know, we're just employees within our own little business. But the moment I started looking at where my business came from, where my traction came from, and emphasize more on that, you really don't look back.
Yeah, it's interesting to think how the technology is changing the business so rapidly. You know, when before, you know, years back, you'd get the phone book and start dialing through the phone book, or, you know, there's so many different ways to build a real estate business, a real estate practice. In terms of one of the things for me, even in joining eXp and beginning to think about creating web content, was that is creating content, planning content is lead generation. That it's not, because we in our mind sometimes we're like, oh gosh, Facebook, what a waste of time, you know, or, you know, you hear these things about social media, and it can be, if you're not disciplined about it, it can take a lot of time, and it may not all be productive, right? How do you frame the content creation time and getting good content out there to help connect with the market?
This is where I'm going to share I need to be much better and much more focused, because we've all got something we need to work on. I'll say this publicly, I don't like social media. I use it solely for working purposes. So if anyone that looks at me on Facebook, you will never see, and this is a family decision. I think if you can bring your family into social media, it's going to make you a lot more relatable and therefore hopefully likable, and it's going to help your business. I will maybe put some pictures of my son from behind at a playground, but we don't want to put them, personal decision again, on social media before they can, you know, say they want to be on there or not. So I'm very specific and strategic about what my content is. And as you'll openly see, most of mine is about, I hate to use the word empowerment because I know it's very overused and cliche, but it kind of is. Empowering agents to realize they're probably worth more than what the traditional brokerage is offering them. So I'm very heavy on agent attraction, and that's what I do on social media a lot. But also I'm big into education and helping, again, just from experience. I try not to speak ignorantly, and I think I put on there, I want to say because I've been there, done that, or I truly believe it. I just want to speak because I read something. So that's why I'm big into thinking that Zillow is going to be a great idea. I'm the 1% of the industry that thinks that. No one else does, but I have my reason for it. So for me, it's not very structured. I have this set up here. It's going to sound the stupidest thing in the world. I want to call this my the exceptional towers, and clearly people would just start logging off this call. So I'm not going to do that. But I do a lot of videos here with my setup in my studio, and I'm very specific about what that is. I have notebooks for everything. I have a notebook for video ideas and content creation. So I'm always looking and always adding in that. That's when the morning cup of coffee comes in. And I try to put out 3 videos a week and try to put one thing on social media a day. When I say social media, LinkedIn is my go-to. Facebook is my business go-to. And Instagram, I don't even know why I bother, to be completely honest with you. I think you need to have one social media platform and be really heavy in it. And you can probably do 2. For me, 3 is too much. So I don't have that set structure. If you saw in my calendar, there's nothing that says, and I've heard this is a great idea, and I think it would be, story, video, post, whatever's going to keep you structured to doing it. I'm not that way, and I think it would probably help me if I was. My challenge, Matthew, my organization, I call it my eXp army. Most of them are in other parts of the world. So my balance is what time I put something and what the content is. So I could be better. That will be short term, one of the things I work on. But right now, I'm kind of one of those, much like our president, right? If he has something, he just puts it straight on Twitter. Now, for me, when I'm doing a video, there's a little bit of editing that comes into place. So it's not quite that easy. But I certainly try to put something consistently, have similar hashtags, not too many, but the same ones that are appropriate, and put them on the same platform to try and, for me, it's a long-term vision. So I need to be more structured. It's a little haywire. Is the long-winded answer.
Did you start out with 3 videos a week, or did you start out with 1 a week, or how did you work yourself up to that? Because that's some production.
It is, but again, I've got this little production now which I've bought, so for me it's easy, and I've seen it work. I believe video is probably how I created this international real estate team. So I'm sure there were other ways that it could have been done, but when I've seen something work, I'm like, I better do it more. So I probably did it. One off, it was terrible. I had, let me show you, I had a phone in my hand, put it up here, and I just pressed record and I put it out there. And then over time, you realize it should probably be this way. I 100% of the time need a microphone, and then you can have editing software and bits and pieces. Now, I'm very lucky. I do have a bit of a media and a background in media, nothing fancy at all, but I know what I'm doing. All the videos I do are pretty much one take. It's not an issue for me. It comes fairly naturally. At the beginning, I had zero confidence, and even with a client, as opposed to pick up the phone or answer the phone, I'd rather send them an email. So for me now, to be doing a lot of video content took a lot. But as with anything, Matthew, and as everyone on this call knows, you need to be outside of your comfort zone to grow. And the more you do anything, like the 10,000 hour rule, right? You do something that long, it becomes repetition, it becomes cognitive, and it becomes easy. So at the beginning, it was just, I don't know, let's do it a few years ago. Then I probably did too much. And I learned that you have to diversify your content in any social media for algorithms too. Now I've just figured out a happy medium. I was always trying to get business, grow business. Now I just want to be consistent in my message. If people like it, great. If they don't, I don't care. I'm just putting this out there. I'm not doing it for no reason. I'm very strategic. But yeah, it went from just doing it to probably doing too much. And now I'm sort of at that happy medium.
Found a good stride. And so really LinkedIn and YouTube, YouTube first, and then LinkedIn. I think a lot of people are saying LinkedIn is a missed opportunity for people that are not really leveraging it. What do you think about that?
Massive. Oh, massively. For me, it's been massive on my international side, and that's really been the focus. I knew, right, let's go back 2.5 years ago when I joined eXp. We're a North American company, plans of international expansion and all this stuff, but no one knew what they were doing. I know it's being recorded, so maybe I should be careful, but people knew, we've got great leaders at our company and they are exceptional at what they do. But as with anybody, when you're outside of your comfort zone, outside of your knowledge sweet spot, it's all the unknown. So I was just looking to use LinkedIn heavily to find out who's who do I need to know, and how do I learn? Because I think with education and with learning and what you put in, you can put out. So I did that. I connected with the right people, and the rest is history. So I use it massively on the international side to resonate with my international audience, but it brings me sales because I'm consistent, I'm confident, and I add value. It brings me sales and business. I had a message last night I could show you from an old friend of mine who's now looking to buy and sell his home locally. But I use Facebook, which is the same content. It makes zero sense. But Facebook's what will bring me most of my sales, my listings business, and some purchases as well. LinkedIn's more from the growth side and from the, I don't want to call it ego, because I let that go a long time ago when I got married. But from the branding standpoint, from the branding and from the growth, Facebook is more so local. Because the one thing, I think YouTube I use in my portfolio. I think YouTube is massive. And I think there's a long-term play, as all of this is. But for me, YouTube, a couple of things. I have to say this as well. So if you're putting a video on LinkedIn or Facebook, you've got to upload it directly. If you put the YouTube link, the algorithm will take people off their website. Let's think about it. Facebook, LinkedIn, any social media platform make their money from marketing. So if you're looking to put something that's automatically going to take them off the website, it's not going to be put on other people's news feeds as heavily as it would if it's organic and it keeps them there. So that's why YouTube is kind of my background portfolio, which I can put people to separately. But Facebook and LinkedIn is how I build my business. And I think LinkedIn is a missed opportunity. The big thing I want to just double down on, though, you can have too much of a good thing. If you're on Facebook and you're very well connected on Facebook, don't look to grow a brand new audience on LinkedIn because you already have it in front of you. You know, the tendency, much like lead generation, is to spread ourselves too thin. Yes, I need to call for sale by owners. Oh, I should call expired. I should probably do some prospecting. Oh, I need to use social media. No. One or two things, do it to the very best of your ability, and it's much better than 4 different things spending 25% of your time. So for me, I think LinkedIn is a big missed opportunity, but only if you're already on there. I think you need to look more into that. You know, the other thing I want to say, which I'll leave with until you can ask another question, is a great thing about content on social media is engagement. You have to engage with other people. Don't just put your content out there and expect people to see it. That will not happen. Algorithms are there for a reason. People who are engaged in the platforms, who spend time in the platforms, and who are outwardly showing to speak to and connect with, engage with other people, will show your stuff. It's just nature. And with that, you've got to connect with your audience. You know, I'm here in Davidson, North Carolina. If I want to sell homes and I have a market update every single month and I am not connected to anybody in Davidson, North Carolina, what the heck is the flipping point? You know, we're also quick to put content on there to post, but we've got to be connecting with our target audience as well. And that for me is a bigger missed opportunity that many of us have. You know, I'm always connecting with people, and I'm always connecting with those potential sellers, potential listings, potential buyers, and connected people. Because if you're not doing that, your content's irrelevant. What's the point of having the best video in the world? Nobody's going to see it.
Right, right. It's interesting when you see things that get traction that you posted, and often it's a conversation prompt that starts a conversation going, you know, and being able to respond within the thread after that post, creating engagement beyond just that initial post so that the community engages around it, right? Have you thought about, or as you do post, are there specific ways that you post to help increase the engagement across the different platforms?
It's a great question. One answer I'm probably going to say at this moment in time, and that's just because I'm old. I'm 36. I'm tired. I've always been tempted to get on the controversial side, and I'm not going to say that publicly because I don't recommend doing that. I speak about Zillow because I truly believe it. I wouldn't speak about something if I didn't believe it. But I would liken it, because we're all real estate agents on the call, so I would liken it to prospecting. You have a for sale by owner, and you give them a call. Hi, my name is Barry. I'm the owner of the exceptional brand powered by eXp. I would love to sell your house. What are they going to say? They're going to say, no, it's not an open question. If I call them and say, hi, Mrs. For Sale by Owner, my name is Barry Pulver. I'm the owner of the exceptional brand powered by eXp. I saw you were trying to sell your house by yourself. Kudos to you. I have something I would love to share with you because I think it's going to help. I'm much more likely to get a response. The difference between the two is an open and a closed question. So I think when it comes to social media, we use the same strategy. You know, if someone puts their thoughts out there, a general question, I want to use Davidson because it's the best town in North Carolina, no offense. And let's say, hey, you know, I was in Main Street, Davidson today. Where's the one place I want to look at? Or, you know, I'm really hungry for lunch. What do I need to look at? You could say Kindred, Or you can say, well, you know, there's a really great restaurant called Kindred. Let me tell you, it's just the depth by which you respond or engage, for me, just on a simplistic scale, an open and a closed question. You know, if you have an open question, typically it's going to be involved in engagement as opposed to a closed question, short, factual, and to the point. So anything you could do to engage, which is to build intrigue and to that's why I like value content marketing. It's offering value. So if you can build the intrigue, you can build the value, and you can keep everything open. Think of the questions we have every day. You know, it's the same thing. If you're speaking with your spouse, your partner, your child, your neighbor, you're not going to say, hope you have a great day as you walk by. You're going to go, hey, how's your day going? It's the little things, human psychology, the little things in our conversations that can make a massive, massive difference.
Yeah, and it's amazing the power of curiosity. You mentioned that intrigue, you know, of stimulating that. And I'm thinking about your 3 videos a week now and thinking, does Barry know on Monday when he's getting ready to hit the week what those 3 videos are going to be, or how does that evolve in the journey?
Well, you know, because I was pretty honest, you know, I have no flipping clue, but I have a book that has normally probably got 80 or 90 ideas. You know, I have different ideas for video content, and they typically form in a, what trying to say, like a series. And I am, and my wife would tell you, I am the best idea generator in the world. However, one of my personal and professional challenges is to see something and follow it through all the way. If you have a look and you look back a year, 2 years, you'll see I had like exceptional Be More Mondays. It was a different thing. It'd be a video on there, you know, about motivation or about just different bits and pieces. Now I'm so scattered. I probably have a good idea, but that's why for me, and I'm not just using this mug, I wish it had something in it now, but that cup of coffee I have in the morning is so important for me, because it's I see my ideas, which I know I've already alluded to, but they kind of come to me when I disconnect. And with 2 small kids and a wife and a pretty successful international business, it can be difficult to disconnect. So for me, I have a better idea for the day ahead of time. But as you can see by my calendar, come Sunday, I pretty much know what's going on. So it's a little bit of both. Again, we all have, if we're very honest and open with ourselves, we will have something we can work on. I have some really good ideas for video series. February, I know it's being recorded, but I'll tell you. So here at eXp, I have a pretty good organization. I have a lot of people. I know it's Valentine's Day month, so I want to give back. And I think the best way of me giving back with an audience, nothing massive on LinkedIn, I think I have about 4,500 people. And I want to give back to let people know some of my partners. So I want a short interview. We're going to figure out 4 questions, short, snappy, to the point, and give my fellow business partners an exposure of mine, and then obviously their social media platforms as well. So that's my idea for February. We're already on the 3rd of February. How many interviews have I done? Work in progress.
I love it, though. I love it. And it's great to be able to feature the business partners as well. Love to turn just a little bit about to the international business development piece. I was fortunate to connect with a couple folks in South Africa on LinkedIn, and making an introduction to Andrew down there, and hopefully on Friday. Time zones are really kind of different to challenge. It's not just, you know, working in Davidson with that part of the business. Share just a little bit about that journey of getting started with opening up international. That was quite an exciting chapter with eXp.
Yeah, I mean let me go back one step further. You know, I got into this industry. It sounds crazy now to change the industry. And Annie and anyone that knows Andrea, everyone that knows my story here knows. I mean, I'm a broken record. I'm not a scripted person. That's why you probably never see me successfully call an expired listing, but I will get the business because I know how to do it. But I got into this industry to change the industry. You know, I love the idea of the industry. Here in America, you can make 3% commission, and all you need is a real estate license. But here in North Carolina, 79 hours of education, and then 8 a year and $2,000. Where else can you do that? You know, in the UK, the average commission is 1%, and 97% of the industry is an employee. So their base salary is like 2-3 commissions of what we get at our price point. Crazy. So I wanted to get into this industry. Life took me here. I started in property management, and I'm never going back to it. And that opened the door. God bless you if you do it. By the way, you're a much better, stronger person than me. And that opened the door to real estate. And I joined Keller Williams for a couple of reasons. The lady we bought our second home with here was the most successful agent in my town of Davidson. She was with Keller Williams. She was recommending I get my license, so I did that. Also, I know they're international, so it's like, oh, that would be kind of nice. So I got into this industry to change it. I never, ever, Matthew, thought in like 3 years, 1 year at eXp. I mean, it's really humbling, but I never thought I would be the one who took this into an international company. I didn't. I mean, but the honest way, I was always new, call it a calling or call it just a vision or personal branding, whatever you want to call it. I wanted to do big things here. No company, and I've spoken to most of them, I don't want to say shared the vision, but didn't really have the infrastructural capability to do it. I was a nobody. I joined eXp as a fairly new agent still, okay? Not setting the world alight, no personal brand. I was still trying to figure out what I was doing. And for that to happen so quickly, it's mind-blowing. But what it took was a vision, a company who had the infrastructure and the shared vision, and to connect with the right person. That's life. You know, if you want to sell homes, you've got to connect with the right seller. If you want to get into luxury real estate, you've got to connect with a person that has a $3 million home they want to sell now and they want to use you. So it's a combination. I believe you make your own luck. I don't want to call it luck because it's taken an awful lot of time. It's a lot of connections, and now we opened up eXp France. Yeah, I can't really get into specifics, but holy moly, just determination and focus. That when I did that, Matthew, I'm like, if I can do that as me, nobody special. With obviously, I'm not the sole person to do it, but my connection opened the gateway. I'm like, if I can do that, me. Anybody on this call can do absolutely flipping anything. We're our own opportunity, and we are the reason we're not succeeding right now, and we're also the reason that we're going to be successful beyond our wildest dreams. So to say it was a wake-up call was a very, very nice one. So yeah, just some connections, leverage LinkedIn to educate myself about an industry. I knew nobody in the UK, ironically enough, where I used to live and I'm born from. I knew nobody there, but with some education, with some conversations, and with some persistency, here we are. I now have an organization of, I don't know, about 250 people around the world, blowing up in the UK and other parts. Got some other interesting conversations coming on board, and very, very blessed to do what I truly love to do. And that, when I see my sister, who is in the equivalent of property management back in Greater London, hates her job, hates it, doesn't have the confidence or willingness to step outside of her comfort zone and figure out what she wants to do. Born from the same family, raised in the same place. I left when I was 25, 26. There's no reason, that I should be every day loving what I do with a family, and she, God bless her, hates what she does. There's no logical reason. So yeah, that's the story.
It's amazing to hear, and it's for me to see how quickly eXp has moved on so many fronts, internationally, and really being built. I mean, for a pandemic, who would have thought that the cloud technology, the intellectual property, all the different pieces would be so critical at a time to continue to grow at a really rapid rate. I'm going to open up for chat questions here in just a little bit. So guys, I know you have questions for Barry that you've been itching to ask, and he and I have been chatting for a bit now, and you'll be able to drop them in the chat window. But it's interesting. It's really kind of amazing to think about the potential of where things are going from here, and for me, I was even with the call with South Africa, we did a Zoom just like this. They were in South Africa. I'm sitting in Charleston, South Carolina, and it's like they're next door. I mean, we're separated by pixels, and just the connection is so there, even though you have to coordinate time zones, being able to share the innovation, to be able to share the model, and because people move all over the world, and we'll do, I mean, things have quietened down with COVID for a bit, but I think a lot of people are definitely still moving in the US to the Carolinas from all sorts of places that happen to have snow now.
Yeah. I wish we had snow. But yes.
Just
right.
a little, not too much.
Yeah. But you're right, and that's something I think, and I think it's just being different. So let's go back to sales, right? Because I love what I do, and I'm trying to get out the buyer side. I really am. I love listening because the work's at the front end. I can be creative. I figured out I love creativity. As someone that can't even draw, my 4-year-old's probably better at coloring than I am. I love creativity. So 3 years ago, I started using Matterport, which is now standard. People didn't know what it was back then. Again, it's just a little innovation. I always think, what can I do to stand out? What can I do to put this house I want to sell to market it different, to market it better. And then obviously I bought the 360 camera. Andrew, the creator of eXp 360 and iSpace 360, now a good friend of mine, many copies in London. So I use that technology, but Matterport, 360, whatever it is, use it. Zoom, Lord, I've been using Zoom for about 2.5 years. Now everybody's zoomed out, aren't they? Because we do it all the bloody time, and it's a lot. It's being different, it's being creative. And then that's why the world comes into it. You know, if you're part, excuse me, and I know not everybody is, so this only speaks to eXp people, but if you're part of eXp and you want to start meeting people, no pressure, Matthew, but meetings like this, and to engage with people on a mind-blowing creative standpoint, get into the world and meet people. Meet your fellow partners, get into the training. You know, Zoom is great. We're using it right now. I use it pretty much every day, but we are pretty zoomed out. And the world is just mind-blowing. You know, the technology continues to evolve, but the opportunity, listen, I could not wear my shirt now, and we could be having a meeting in the virtual world. My avatar's much better dressed, much better looking. You wouldn't know what I look like. So utilize the technology that's out there. It will help you grow your business. It will keep you creative. And when you're creative, you will be more successful. That's what I found.
It's amazing the creativity that gets spurred from calls like this and the meetings in the world and even on workplace. I mean, it's amazing the knowledge bank that's in workplace, just being able to search. I mean, I try to encourage the mentees to get in there and search to answer their own questions very quickly, because often somebody's already asked that same question, gotten answers from it, and then sometimes mega agents that have huge teams have incredible answers that it's like, oh wow, that's a whole nother scale there, you know.
Success, what do they say? Success breeds success, and success leaves clues.
Right.
Again, I don't think, and I'll say this honestly, I don't think eXp is the right company for everybody, but if you want to have your own brand and if you want to succeed, eXp is a great place to do it. And just look at the training. You know, I'm from experience, again, I joined the largest training company in the world. Just be very cautious of who does your training. So when you get into the world, again, I'm just speaking to eXp agents, but you can get a guest passport and check out our training for free. Get in there. The people who do all the training are what's called icon agents, aka, you know, the 1% of 43,000 agents. So if you're ever wanting some motivation, some inspiration, some training ideas and advice, some tips, get into the world, get onto workplace. That's why, like I said earlier, I think before we started the call, I don't necessarily believe in paying a coach in the industry, where here at eXp and some other companies, you have that for free from people who are at the top of their game.
Absolutely. There's so much free information there. And it's interesting being shareholders, being partners, the level of sharing is so much higher than I've ever experienced anywhere before in my career. And so it's amazing to see that. Questions for Barry, guys. We're quarter to the top of the hour. I know you guys have been itching to ask some questions here. We've been riffing back and forth on lots of different topics.
And I'm a talker. I'm a talker when I've had caffeine. So I apologize. I can happily go and sit down for 15 minutes and give you time back, I promise. Thank you, Tonya. Now I'm going to call you out because you turned your video off as well. I can see everybody here. Tonya, where are you in your business right now? And what's the one thing that's seeing you success? No pressure, a little bit of pressure.
Well, I'm an ER nurse, and so I got furloughed from my job in May. And so I met Matthew this summer through eXp, and I left the company for a couple of months, which was a big mistake, and now I'm back. But I've got a house under contract now. I sold one last month. I am using Zillow leads, and it's really good for me.
That's awesome. You know, good for you, by the way. Thank you for what you do. My wife owns her own PT clinic, and that's as gruesome as it gets for me. So God bless you. Thank you for what you did, and good for you. Again, Zillow leads, paid for leads, I don't think it matters. Whatever works, works. And I think you knowing that, you know, I know it's February now, but it's still the start of the year where you can evaluate your business, evaluate what's working, what isn't working. Good for you. I mean, I think you're obviously on to a winner. So congratulations, and long may your success continue as well.
Thank you.
Barry, touching on Zillow, you do have thoughts about Zillow too that are contrary to what some people think. While there's another question coming, any quick quick thoughts about Zillow?
Sure. Yeah, I know there's a lot of chatter about them becoming a brokerage, and I'm all for it. You know, I am all for it. I know the typical real estate agent would say, "Hey, I don't like it. They're gonna chop my business out from under me. They're gonna take my business. They're gonna take our business." I think we need it, Matthew. I'm pretty honest. Again, I'm not the most experienced agent in the world. I feel like I'm the oldest, and I know I'm not. But I think that is what really, thank you, Annie, is going to bring us to what is important, what's going to truly see our success, which is our personal brand, right? Zillow is a big name. It's a portal. It's the go-to. So if you as an agent, if I as an agent am doing what every single other person is doing, whereas I can go to Zillow and they'll do the same thing for cheaper, why would I not do that? I think we have to self-evaluate. And I think what Zillow is going to do for all of us is to evaluate our personal brand, what we do, how we do it, and how we can be better. And I hate to say this in case anyone's on this call, but those who don't do that are going to be left behind and be out of the industry. And it may not be a bad thing. I mean, if you're passionate about this industry and what you do and helping others when it comes to their housing needs and whatever that is, you will figure out a way to figure out who you are. And that's where that self-reflection comes in. You know, as a new agent, Lord, no, I wouldn't say this, but I truly believe it. You know, if there's 1.6 million realtors in America, I don't know how many people there are. We stopped watching the news back in March. Say there's 360 million. I mean, that's a pretty high percentage of people on the big picture are a real estate agent because there's a low bar of entry, both educationally and money-wise. And there are too many of us. The market is great. At least it's great here in Davidson. It's great where you are in Asheville. So removing some people from the equation is not a bad thing. But what I'm really hoping they're going to do indirectly, Matthew, is to get all of us to elevate what we're doing and how we do it, to have better standards, to have better marketing ability, and to help our clients to a better level. So with that said, I will publicly say I'm very thankful for Zillow raising the bar indirectly. Does that make sense? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense. I mean, one of the things that I encourage all of our mentees to realize is there are people that they know that need their help. And they're the hearts of the people that I get to work with is just awesome. You know, it's like, and so to know that it's like, wow, man, they might not get the best realtor if they don't get you, you know, and so making sure that your sphere is well cared for and realizing people are moving, you know, every 5 years. So roughly 20% of each of our databases, the people on our cell phone, they're moving, you know, and it may not be, it's hard to know exactly who's moving when if you don't stay in touch with them. But, you know, really caring and loving your neighbor, you know, even if the neighbor's in South Africa or wherever, like London, you know, that's an extended neighbor there in a different way, you know, is key. And it's like, I know the disappointment I've had when I've like, oh man, somebody else's sign is in that yard and I could have helped them and have done a better job for them, you know?
Yes.
I mean, have you felt that kind of regret? It's like, oh, I missed that one and I shouldn't have, right?
Yeah, you know, and I was like, why the heck would this person not use me? And then the logical side of it is like, how do they even know what you do? You know, and that's the one thing I think you hit the nail on the head. We can't control timing, but we can control our own actions. And if you're in charge of what you do and your outreach and your follow up and your lead generation and all that stuff, at the right time, you will be top of mind. They will see the value you've given them and they will call you. If you don't, and you look next door and they've got a Redfin sign, I hate to say this, but it's your fault. And yes, Matthew and I have both been there, not with Redfin, obviously, but with the equipment. No offense to Redfin, a little bit.
For sure. Questions for Barry before we wrap here at the top of the hour? Barry, man, this has been awesome. It's good stuff on personal branding in the video. I'm inspired to create more content like you. I see Annie Lewis's hand.
Mine too.
Yes. I have a quick question, Barry. You know, I've watched your video content evolve, and just speaking from a technical, like nuts and bolts point of view, like what have you done to up your production value? You know, with your, you know, you said you had a studio and stuff, because I'm used to having calls with you from your backyard, and you know, now it's all very much more professional.
I miss those days. It was so much warmer. So a couple of things I figured out. Again, I'm no expert, but it works. And when I've seen something that works, then it works on a pretty big scale, you know, I just double down on it. So what I've done, number one, the best investment I ever made, bear with me, was this. This is a microphone. I profess this to everybody. This is like 20 feet. but it's a clip-on microphone. I know I don't have one now because we're on Zoom, but the best investment I ever made for my video production was literally this: $5, 7, 8, 20 feet, however it is, it's massive. And then I just, as time went on and I got more successful and I decided to invest in myself and my business, I got a green screen. I know this isn't real, but I bought a green screen with that. Well, I didn't actually. I bought 2 lights, big vertical lights, as you've probably seen many times. Came with a green screen. I have a tripod, which I'll put my phone to. It's really nothing fancy. I have a tripod, I clip in the microphone, and away you go. The videos, feel free to look at all of them. They're all on Facebook. Look at my name on YouTube. I'd actually much rather, as I'm trying to build out the channel, type my name into YouTube and have a look. You'll see the progression, as you say, Annie, from me sitting out in my garden when it was nice and warm, I miss those days, to me just walking around, to me now having, I would see somewhat as a professional setup. But the best thing I can say, you don't need it. You really don't need it. You just got to do video. The more you do it, you'll get confidence. The more you get confidence, I promise you, you'll spend $5 and buy a microphone, and the rest will be history. So it's been a natural progression after about probably 3 years or so. But have a look, Annie, thank you again for the question. Have a look on my YouTube channel. You can literally see that first video I did all the way to what I did on Monday about why I was on the front cover of the Top Agent magazine for the international edition. And I think video has been a large part of that as well.
So Barry, how do you choose between doing a live and a produced video shot? You do much live stuff, or how are you dividing those up?
I literally just record them. Like, time is so sparse for me. I may do live videos internally. I have, my little organization, I have some videos that I'll do on there, but typically I just record them all. And then I top and tail it through a platform called InShot, because I'm the 0.1% that doesn't have an Apple. And then from there, because I have a green screen, I go to CyberLink Power Director, which I have on my computer and on my phone. I use a chroma key to get rid of the background. I put some fancy little text on there. This has all happened over the last 3 months. So my process has evolved. Originally, I would literally just press record and put it on there. If you're looking to do video and you need confidence, I really think the best way to do it is do a live video. Do it on your Facebook group. Have something you want to say that's going to add some value, that's going to make you feel uncomfortable, because I can promise that's going to happen anyway. And then there's no pressure, because you have all the pressure in the world. You press record. If you really don't like it, you can delete it. Whoever watches it live, and the purpose of that, throw yourself in the deep end. It's the great part about life. Throw yourself in at the deep end. It will be recorded afterwards unless you want to delete it. And then it will also come up on the top newsfeed for Facebook. It will say, hey, Barry Pulver's gone live. So it gives yourself exposure, puts you in at the deep end. Worst case scenario, you delete it and you've already done it. So my process continues to evolve, but I really think if I could tell myself one thing at the beginning, I'd probably start doing live videos.
That's good to hear. Live is funny. It's interesting to see who tunes in, and you can always delete it if you don't like it. But that's one of the things. Like Ricky Caruth is like, just do lives. Just put the live up there and roll with it. And don't worry about production. Just make it happen. That way you get it done.
Exactly. And there comes, that's probably the best way to do it. I can't think of the lady, super successful business lady. Her logic is she's got, I think it's the 3-second rule. Whenever you wake up, if you don't want to get up and you've got to go for a run, you don't want to, you have 3 seconds cognitively, otherwise you can talk yourself out of it. So if you press live, it's going to record, whether you want to do it or not, it's there. So I just think put yourself in those uncomfortable situations, or worst case, just do it. I mean, we all know those who are doing video on social media will get you standing out above the 20 other realtors that all your friends know. So do it, record it, watch it back, be horrified, be impressed, delete it. Keep doing it to the point where you just do it. Worst case scenario, you build business and you get people looking at your crap video. Happens to me every day. I don't think my videos are amazing, but they get me business. So how am I gonna complain about that?
Right. It keeps us all humble too, right? It's like, okay, yeah, that's me. That's how I really look. It's that's just part of the deal, right?
There's a reason I wear sunglasses on my head all the time. There's a reason I'm well overdue a haircut. I mean, it's just a fact. I look this way. I was born this way. I know we can make modifications, but yeah, at this age, at this point in my life, let's just do it. You just got to be, and that's the whole personal branding thing. You got to be comfortable. You got to be aggressive. You got to be ambitious. You got to know what you want to do. And that's where video comes into it. You watch it back and that's you. You know, that's going to be you. Whatever you look like, it's great. You know, there will be a natural confidence that comes with it when you see results, but more to the point, when you just do it.
Love it, Barry. I'm going to share your, I've got your socials up here on another screen. Barry Pulver, thank you so much for joining us and sharing some success clues with these agents, both on YouTube and with us live today. Barry Pulver on YouTube, be more exceptional. And then on Instagram, look at him in the top agent. That's pretty awesome. Barry Pulver NC on Insta, also on LinkedIn. I got people messaging me here.
Of course you do.
Barry Pulver on LinkedIn. So tag him, follow, and learn from the master himself, international man of mystery, intrigue, and exceptionalness. Barry Pulver, guys, thank you so much.
Matthew, thank you. And listen, thank you for all you do. You're doing a great job in one of my favorite parts of South Carolina. So just from me to you, thank you for all you do.
Thank you, Barry. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you, everyone. Have a great one. Go out there and love your neighbor this week and meet some new neighbors as well. Maybe some you haven't met before.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.